5A.
Okay. Captain, you ready to call the meeting to order? Yep.
Just digging to get everything put together. So I'm just finishing up that. Yes, yes, so I can see. You need to get in the car, keep those with you first.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's a little bit after 3, so we'll get started. First thing we're going to do is everybody had a chance to look at the minutes. And are there any questions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? All right. All right, here's the agenda. The director's report, budget report, clarification of Becky's ability to pay bills, add language to the rules, board appointment nominations, Beth Fields, June 18th, term up, old and new business, building committee report, and marketing committee report. And then the next meeting's set. And if necessary, of course, we'll go into closed. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda, or is there a correction? Adam? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Okay, all in favor? All right.
Was that Harold on the second? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Becky.
Okay, I'm going to stand up here so I can be heard better. Okay, I've got the financial report through May 31st. It's the first page looks like this. We closed out the month of May with $85,989.20. We just deposited for June, which is May. We just deposited in June for May, $13,440.37. I'm going to transfer $1,107.01 to the capital reserve fund probably tomorrow, and then I've got $443 in bills to pay, which leaves your available cash in the money market and the checking of $93,880. You'll note that it's quite a nice jump from this time last year. We were at $52,000, so I'm really proud of the progress that we've made. You want to skip down to total taxes collected here today. It's the 1, 2, 3 lines there toward the bottom. Our total collections through May 31st were $125,263. This time last year we collected $113,509. Yes.
What do we attribute to that? That's a 10% increase right there. What do we attribute?
I would say my sales tax for the county is a little better than this time last year. I think the economy's been better.
And what about the actions that y'all have taken to collect and to get everybody on the list?
Yeah.
And get the letters in? What all have y'all done?
We've done some of that too.
Yeah, we do have more people.
We do have 4 people that are coming in. We still have a ways to go there.
Yeah.
I had a fella come in yesterday from Santigua area, and I think he's going to be my high spot private eye up there, which I'm real pleased with. I've been able to really create a real bridge with this fella just by being real open with him about questions, about occupancy, and so he is going to kind of scout out things up there for me and help me. I said, if you bring me a list, I'll get busy, so I was real pleased with that. I think it's a combination. I think last summer we had a better summer for weather, and the year before that was really rough. It was raining all the time.
And I also think do you see some of those, Tacoma Lodge is a different format now. It started earlier.
They're beginning,
And they're really starting to get some high numbers in there.
And I've had several people come by and just be so thankful that the lodge is opening up to the general public, and that they're being very helpful even to the campers around. They actually created a lodge stay because they were so nice to a lady who wanted to camp. And she went in and paid like about $300 worth of merchandise and said, you know what, I think I deserve a night in. And so she bought it. And so, I think the word's getting out that, and I think too, the work that this board's done in trying to push the word out through social media, I think that's made a difference. I think it's a combination. I wish there was one thing we could put our finger on, but I think there's a lot of good positive things that are going on with the board.
One's indicative that we're all working together.
Yeah.
The world has a pretty good advertising program going too. So they're getting the word out there. So.
And I think, of course, Graham County, I think a week ago, got a preliminary copy of the comprehensive plan, which includes a tourism piece. Unfortunately, the plan's already obsolete in some ways because it talks a lot about Stanley. So I think there's going to be some tweaking that's going to have to go on the comp plan. And one thing that I have tried to instill with my board is how important it is for us, even though there are two boards, to be really working in concert, because tourism is our economy now. So that's one thing that I pushed a lot.
But they can't leave.
Exactly. And that, I've talked a lot in our budget hearings about how we got to make Graham County a place to live, work, and play and stay. Whether you're, a tourist or a person, like a young person, so that we can really build up the county and be better. And work with what we've got, which is wonderful, beautiful natural resources. So I'm getting into my planning. I'm a frustrated planner.
Sustainable is the word.
Sustainable. That's right.
Because it can't wait.
And so I'm a frustrated planner, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm projecting, if you look at the green line and just looking at, for the months, of course, May equals April, okay? So we've got May and June, which we'll get in July for revenue. And so I'm hoping that we'll get another 60 to 70,000. I'm kind of pushing the envelope up there, thinking it's going to be 200, but wouldn't it be nice if we got the 200,000? And year before last, we were fairly close. Last year was lower, but I'm hoping that we will be able to push that about 200,000 this June 30th year in. Right now, you guys have a little over 19,000 in your capital reserve. That's to be committed. The board's doing some really good things. Just wanted to give you the revenue and expenditure statement through May 31st. As I said, right now we're looking at a surplus of about $47 for this year. This doesn't include the bills I need to pay tomorrow. We're going to pay some bills. That's about $4,200. But I'm hoping that also doesn't include the $13,000 I was deposited today. So I'm hoping that we will wind up the year with about a $12,000 surplus that you guys can work toward. If you'll flip back that front page, I'm hoping that our fund balance at the end of June of 15 will be about $185. So that'll be some money as I'm guessing you guys are really close to laying out your budget. And I'm going to stick around because if there's questions about that before you guys are ready to lay it out, I'm going to be available there this afternoon for you. Things are looking pretty positive, and I'm always glad to get good news. So I'm getting plenty of that. If you want to look at your budget report, we're hanging right inside budget. Right now, we should have 8% left, which is 1 month. We're at 14%. We've got several areas that we have hardly touched this budget year that can just, roll over as part of your fund balance. I'm looking at probably, I'm going to need to do one budget amendment just to clean up. I think overall salaries and benefits, once we kind of got things back in line in December, we'll be within budget, but I may want to do some tweaks to just the line items. Advertising depending on what is left, and that's, I think Tabitha and I are going to need to sit down probably Monday or something just to see if there's any bills that she knows that's coming up that I'll probably have to hit. I did have a question The great grant match, we budgeted $1,200, we spent $193.50, that's the Green Star. And that left $1,006.50. I didn't know if there was going to be more expenditures.
There's going to be, and that's why I emailed you and asked you the balance, because we're just finishing up the tourism plan, and Chris Kavanaugh will be submitting his invoice to Greg.
Okay.
So Greg will be invoicing for the
Will we
balance.
be in the budget?
Okay.
Good, okay. So probably whatever date that you folks have scheduled to accept the budget and lay it out for the 10 days, I'll want to come down and just present the final budget amendments. So I'm not sure what date that is, if you've said that time yet.
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
That's the 16th, that's the
That's
last
it.
day to have 10 business
Yeah.
days. Starting on the 17th would be 1.
Yeah, okay. So what time will you need to
That's,
come to the board?
it's up to
I think we were planning, going to try to get the budget out today. But then if you need us to sign something before the end of the
Well,
month,
you'll have to have your 10 days to lay out, and then and also your public hearing sometime within that 10 days. So you won't be able to sign your budget until you've made the 10 days. But yeah, just whenever you guys meet again before you're in, I need to be here to sign the budget. And I would typically do it at this time, but I'm kind of, I don't want to. It seems too late, but it's really almost too early in the month for me to know how things are shaking out, because I'm still waiting on bills.
So sometime between now and Tuesday, you can have advertising.
Yeah,
Well, that, we know that we're going to get the final, you guys.
Yeah.
yeah. The big thing is just whatever, because I'm down to like 1% in my advertising budget. Of course, I've got money in contingency, and I've got money in, some of the postage that I can shift, but I've got to do it right. Because everyone's getting paid.
well, Becky, let me ask you this, is it something that has to be done in June, or could it be done in our first meeting in July?
Okay, well, what you could do, you could go ahead and give me the authority to create the budget amendment, and say, whatever budget amendments that it's in the minutes, and then you guys would sign off on it in July. We just date it in June. But if you want to give me that authority to make those amendments and have them ready for your July meeting, that would be okay. I just need it in the minutes. It's up to y'all.
Well, I make a motion that we allow Becky to do the budget amendments after she's paid all the bills, and then we sign those at our July meeting.
It's up to y'all.
Well, you're going to be doing it anyway, right?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
And well, you go over with us.
Yes.
And all in favor?
One thing I do have is our audit contract. I think I already mentioned to the board in a previous meeting that it was going to be the same as last year. If you want to stick with the same firm, which is Firm Hatch Firm, they are the ones who do the county audit, and because TDA is a component unit of the county, it makes it simpler for everybody to be the same firm doing all the audits. And so I have, yes, TDA, RDA, and county. It's $4,200, and I need a board motion or board action to approve that.
Second.
On favor?
And I feel like that's not going to stick around. I do need Connie. They have put a wrong chairperson on this, but they said we could wind it out. They put Dale Wiggins.
Okay.
Because he's already a chair and they forgot.
Yeah, that's all
But
right.
it's okay, I'll have you sign it and then we'll make that correction.
That'd be fine. And I just wanted to clarify something. Do you have any problem with the way that we are currently paying bills?
The biggest
Right now,
thing,
the board approves them because of the one bill that was, I think should have been paid.
Right.
It's just a safeguard that we all are on the same page and know what's going on.
it's an internal control thing. The biggest thing is just that I work ahead and make sure if there's any bills that come in the interim, that we let the vendors know that there may be a lag.
Sure.
If I know ahead, I can get you guys to approve it. But if I don't, then there's usually a little
how paid we are. So my concern is that I want to bring to the board's attention to see what you guys' strategy is the fact that if it is in the budget and the bill matches the budget, because we voted on the budget, does that not allow her to go ahead and pay that if there's not been a variance?
No, I'd still rather look at it and approve it through here, and once again, the bill was paid that we shouldn't have paid, and that's just to safeguard internal controls, and it'll help us in the audit down the road. The other thing, I called the office and asked that you bring the bids on the printing that is not paid. Did you get the message in time to get
Yeah,
that
I
here?
left setting up here and went back and tried to put all that together.
Do you have it?
I'm missing one thing because they don't usually email me the invoices, they're mailed. And
The
so
bids.
the bids are here, that's those 3 packets I said each 2 of you could look at. Because I didn't want to make 6 packets of that, it's color copies, it costs a lot of money, and those are all things that I emailed out at one point or another. So those are for you guys to review. There is a missing invoice for, I think, the Roads to Adventure, because that one was mailed. About 3 weeks ago, I sent out an email to all of our vendors asking them to send invoices, final invoices to me, so I can get them submitted by Becky's deadline of May 27th, to be compliant with her standards for being sure that everything got in and got entered into the computer.
Okay, right here is what I want to talk about. What date is on the first page? We have web printing with a bill of $1,370, and I believe it was the following day I saw that come in at $1,369.
So where are you at again? Where are you at again?
On the second page of
Just
the
look on your second page of the minutes. You've got it kind of summarized. Looks like you printed off an email that you sent out. You don't have a second page of that?
Is it where it says no price? Where it's $1 under the lowest bid?
So that says Roads to Adventure, and that Roads to Adventure invoice is not in here because that one was the one that was mailed. But the bid sheet is here. Those are the 3 companies, $13.69 for Roads to Adventure.
Do you want to see?
No, I'm okay, yeah, on my emails.
And that's when, there's, you guys have on the back of the minutes from the board.
What was
John's-
David's old price is what I want to know.
His old price, if you go to the back side,
1598.
it should have been on the back side.
It's on the recount celebration, it's 1588.
Yeah,
Right here.
I talked him down from that one because the other people had to do a common carrier delivery, and we don't have a freight door, and I can't use the storage in the upper plant anymore. So I went to Clark Communications because they house our brochures for free, and I said, can you match this bid? And he said, yes.
And it was $1 lower.
Well, I guess that's what I'm not seeing.
Well,
Well, it's
we're
1588
tied,
to begin with, 1588.59, and then the new price was 1369,
Which is $1 lower.
which was one, then the
That's
next.
the lowest bid.
Web print.
Yeah, that was the lowest bid.
Yeah, so he needed to come in $1 lower in order to win that bid. So
How did
I
he know
can,
that?
what's that?
How did he know he needed to come in $1 lower?
Because I told him I needed him to try and match a bid.
And you told him what the bid was. So he could go $1 under?
Can I do that?
That's a felony.
Okay,
That's called price fixing. And
Okay.
it cannot happen.
okay.
So I'm not sure what our legalities are here, but we will definitely have to talk to council to see if we still have to pay that lowest bid and pay the printer or what, but that was a hold up on paying this.
Okay.
That was on my list, and that's included in stuff to pay if it's approved,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to leave that off, but
We, you know,
I'll
So
help
lowest bid.
No, but what I'm saying is, why, did we get the maps?
It's over.
Yeah, but I shared bids, and I asked everybody if they could do any better.
No, but what I'm asking is, we're not paying the bill, we have a bill,
Mhm.
we got the maps.
Yes.
So whatever our internal issues are, they shouldn't suffer, why can't we just pay the bill?
I have to have approval. I've got two bills actually. And
I think we would-
they were good $1,300 each.
I think we would be,
It's over my $500. So as far as I'm concerned,
So now I would have two bids.
I should have brought them, I had them right on the desk and I ran out without them. One was maps and one was, what was the other one?
Oh, it's not this particular bid here, so.
No.
The maps one, I didn't see any problem with that.
And the
No,
maps
this
is over
another-
however, it's over my limit.
Okay, well, we can go ahead and vote on that one, because we don't have a legal issue with it. Do I hear a motion to pay the maps bill?
I'll make a motion to pay the maps.
not a second.
And all in favor?
Okay, that's just one.
Okay, and I will get in touch with Donna. Oh,
But what I'm asking is, why should the vendor suffer? Because, I mean, if they submitted the bid and it's already been printed and we have possession of it, we need to pay the bill.
Did your board accept the bids?
Well,
We had this question.
we had a poll vote via email.
And it was documented on these two forms that I sent you.
Right, I've got that, that's, that question on the record, did the board accept?
Right, I'm still going to suggest that we hold up on that until we speak to Donna Cody, and I will try to get in touch with her this evening, this afternoon. And we will get it paid. We definitely plan to pay the bill. That it's not we're trying to renege on the bill. I'm not, and I know the rest of this board isn't. But we certainly want to do everything else in order. This has been brought to our attention, and this is why we have the spending procedures in place that we have. 10, 12, 14 eyes are better than 2, and it just safeguards us all. You want to vote on that?
So has Clark Communications already printed those brochures?
Yes. We've had them for a month.
I want to clarify one thing though, and that is, this is the issue that I got into with the department last year. Without pre-audit, there's no contract. Even if and this is statutory, okay? Even if the maps or brochures are printed, as far as a body politic is concerned in the state of North Carolina, which the TDA is considered a body politic, without a pre-audit, no contract exists. And it's a wild and woolly statute, but it has stood in court of appeals over and over and over in the state of North Carolina. Therefore, it's really, really important. That's the reason I asked the question, did the board move and make the motion to accept the bid? Because that in itself would have created the authority to give me the authority to pre-audit, okay? And so at this point, and I know it's splitting hairs, and I always want to pay every bill that any entity related to Grand County is related to. But there have been instances that this finance officer did not pay a bill, or several bills, on account of the lack of the authority, the one through the chain of authority. So it's really important that the board makes some action soon. Otherwise, I have to invoke General Statute 159 with this company and let them know that no contract exists.
Okay.
So,
I'll be trying to get in touch with Donna and try to have this resolved within a week.
yeah. And there are, in the state fiscal manual, there is guidelines related to bids that are higher than what we're dealing with, okay? However, local boards can pull those bid requirements down to a lower level if that's part of the rules and procedures. So that may be something that, even though these bids probably fall below that threshold in the state treasurer's manual, if this board so chooses, put out anything for bid. And so therefore, it's important that we, whatever procedures we set, we follow. And I didn't realize until it was too late, because I haven't had to attend meetings, and so this is my bad, then the bidding process was going on. Therefore, I would have probably given Tabitha better information. So, I think she was going through and doing what she thought was a correct methodology. That'll be one thing she and I can work together for future bids to help her know exactly what the guidelines are.
So I have another question to the board and to Becky then. Because when I first took over in my office, there wasn't really anybody there to train me. And I've sought the marketing and advertising training. I know that Greg and Amy went to the local school of government for some training with dealing with the public. How expensive is that, and is that available to me?
Yeah, typically you could go to Chapel Hill for probably a week, and depending on what kind of training program that you would want to go to, you're looking at probably about $400 in tuition plus the travel cost, and sometimes they will give scholarships. So, I'm happy to work with Tabitha if there's some training opportunities to help them find it with the school of government. But I think to me this is just a scenario where it's a learning thing that once we kind of work through the council, then we can give them more support. A body politic.
So, I don't know the statutes on that or the treasurer's handbook, but are we required to take the lowest bid?
It depends. It depends. If you're dealing with something that has to do with technology, no. Because the lowest bid may not be the most. A lot of times in a case like that, you do a RFQ and an RFP at the same time. And you look at the qualifications first before you look at the bid.
When you put anything out for bids, if you don't put the disclaimer on it that the lowest bid can be declined, then yes.
I mean, exactly.
But the issue here is that a competitor's price was revealed to us.
Yes, and that's a problem.
That's the problem.
That is a problem. And so, and really, truly, even if there are very specific examples, such as a technology thing, that exempt you from taking the lowest bid. But if they do not fall within those specific exemptions, then the lowest bid rules.
So is it a requirement of the board for Tabitha to make these all official bids? If you went online and you wanted to price brochures or a flyer with thousands of online companies and you just priced 3 of them, are you having to put that in an official document in the form of a bid, or are you just getting a quote, or is that something that she can do?
That depends on you as a board. If you as a board says, we want bids on everything, up to, above a specific amount, then you can bid, because you have to follow your own rules and procedures. For instance, my board of commissioners, well, you're my board too, my big board, the board of commissioners, they say to us, anything above $100, you need to get at least 3 quotes or 3 bids on. And so that holds over $100. And that holds us in check to always make sure that we give, and they also added a stipulation that you need to go after your local people first to provide. That puts us under the stipulation that we always do our due diligence.
For the taxpayers.
On behalf of the
We can get a
taxpayers.
better price for the taxpayers,
Yes.
and of course, for our occupancy.
Yeah.
In this instance.
Yeah.
But I guess my question, I'm still not sure.
Okay.
Is that if you go online and you're buying it, and you are looking out for the taxpayers, what is any different than that?
And
You still know that you're going to spend $1,500.
Yeah. Well, it's just that it depends on you as a board.
What rules
What
do
your
you
brochures, it's okay for Tabitha to go online and get her best shot, then you hold yourself to that accountability that you're giving her that authority. You know, if you say everything she needs to get that has to do with promotion, everything she has to get bids, then you should hold her to that level of accountability. Just be consistent in how you do things.
Once again, that's another check and balance to protect us too. So that we don't have the perception or give the appearance of favoring one over the other. And we never want to do that because that's where we get into legalities.
Yeah. And that's where, you know, when you have a situation like this one where you know that somebody in the store, that might need to be as part of your bid package. You know, can you store our brochures for us? Yes or no? You know, and is there a charge for it? Yes or no? And it's, you know, there again, I think it's just I don't think Tabitha had ever been in that place of doing this, and it was a learning thing, but,
Yeah,
It's
because there's
just
other
important
bids
that-
too now, I mean, just looking through the rules and procedures, there's nothing there. No
Yeah.
guidance, if anything, I told the board I was gonna go get 3 bids. You know, I was trying to look after for the money to be sure we weren't spending money in a bad way.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was recommended by a few board members, but, you know, those other companies, there is money for housing the inventory and then the common carrier freight charge, so I don't even have those bidded out on those bids either.
and, you know, I think that's where it's really important that the board may want to spend some time on, you know, if they want to be very strict on procedures related to this kind of thing, then that be incorporated into your rules and procedures so that she does have a guideline to go against. We want to keep everybody protected. We want to
Yeah.
protect the board, we want to protect Tabitha, we want to protect me, and we want to protect our vendors too, so that they understand what statutory and internal policies they're having to adhere to get their bill paid.
Because what she does reflects on us.
Right,
I mean, if something's wrong over it, then they're gonna come back on us, and you're the board.
right,
And Hubble, you know, you give her direction.
right.
If we did, you know, we've got, like you said, legalities here. Because they're not gonna come after her, they're gonna come after us. And when they can't get her, you're with the board.
And you know, where that can protect the board is if you have specific rules and things, then if those rules are set in place, your role is to just be administrators, and that provides you some immunity there. Those guidelines are what are your kind of your umbrella of immunity that you're working within those guidelines.
Well, I think the idea too of Tabitha having some training in the school of government would be really good because not having that in our rules and procedures, she likely would have learned about
Yeah.
that or at least something similar situation. So I think we also have a responsibility to protect Tabitha because, you know, she's under our direction.
Exactly.
And so I think it would be good to look into that.
Yeah, and she has the knowledge, and maybe you guys have an idea about something that, yes, she's got the knowledge, and I'm not sitting here that she can say, well, you know, under the statutes, this is where you are.
So can you and I talk about that on Monday too?
Thank you, Becky.
So the last thing I had was a motion from Rhonda, second by Beth, for paying those two.
Just the
And those are just
others.
just the max, right?
And then Connie said that she would go with Don to see and try to wrap up the bill and
Is there anything related to the budget that, yeah, right here. Is there anything related to the budget you've got any questions about?
the budget that we're.
Your new budget?
Linda, Becky, if she was.
I was just wondering, I mean, I didn't know if I needed to stay by late until after the board meeting, or if there was anything in the proposed budget you needed to check with me about. Or do you want, I guess I just needed some direction. You want me to begin the process of getting it in an ordinance form for you for Tuesday?
Yeah. There was one item that I heard some discussion on, and that was the $5,000 for fireworks, $2,500 to the town, or the county fireworks, and $2,500 to Fontana Village. And the discussion that I've heard is Fontana Village did not ask for any money. And I know that being on the Heritage Festival Board, that we have had to cut the games out this year because we do not have funding for that. And I would like to see that other $2,500 given to the Heritage Festival for the games here at the festival, because it is to promote this county. And we have, how many we had for last year, Billy? That's it. 10, 12, 17. Okay.
Well, we did discuss this in one of the budget workshop meetings, and the reasoning behind contributing to both Robbinsville and Fontana, just so you know, because I don't think you were there, was because a lot of local people go to Montana for the fireworks, as well as the Heritage Festival, and they contribute heavily that July 4th weekend. And I understand that they're on separate evenings this year.
Yes.
Yes.
And that, that would be a way for locals to experience the fireworks twice in 2 different locations.
But did they send us a request? I don't recall doing the request, but I don't know how, I wasn't in the meeting. You guys discussed this exactly with Darlene or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember the discussion. I don't think that we technically requested anything last year other than helping support the sponsorship of 3 partners and fill up Grant County. Which I certainly would be an advocate of, helping support that fireworks show. It is significant to the entire community going forward, and it's a $10,000 expense. So it's not only done for the guests in Fontana that weekend, because we're full, several weekends in the summer. That's done as a community-wide, event. It's not just done for the guests that's in the village that week.
I'm gonna move that we bring it back to Robbinsville, County Robbinsville, Heritage Festival over, because we had to cut it out because they didn't have the money. And we had to, as business owners and stuff like that, we had to contribute money one year so we could have fireworks. In the past, what was it, not last year, year before last year, we didn't even have that.
Last year.
Yeah. We were never getting that. But I'm gonna move that we transfer this money back to the Heritage Festival.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Four to two. Is that 4 to 2?
Yeah.
Was there any other discussion that needed to be held on the budget? That's information that you needed, right? Becky?
Yes.
I thought so.
Becky, it looks like you're going to have to do an amendment on that contracted services. Really pointed out that one's in the hole.
Yeah.
So
That'll fall under the administrative part, yeah.
so that's where that comes in at, because we've got $2,000 allotted for it in the new budget.
Yes.
And y'all got travel shows planned for that, right? Have a new contractor for someone to do some shows for us, is that right?
Yes, there is a line item, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on out there for that kind of line item. But as we get a little bit more, a couple more months underneath this, then I'll present those things to you guys as we get a little closer.
I talked to Jason Lambert over at Cherokee He's over travel and tourism, economic development, list of things over there, but we were talking about this, contract services. He said, better the tribe as a whole quit doing these, because it don't benefit us anything. I mean, you know, if it don't benefit us, then why we do it? I mean, it's $2,000 we spend it, if we don't really need to be spending, if we don't get nothing in return.
There are a couple of different shows that we were thinking about doing this year because of the type of niche marketing that's going to come with the implementation of this new travel and tourism plan. That we think, pardon?
What were they?
We had talked about maybe going to some sort of a birding convention or a faith-based reunion or meeting type of organization, and doing a couple of those versus like what we did last year is we contracted with Tom Hardy out of Blue Ridge Parkway, and some of the shows that I used to go to, which is where I met him, he was passing out our brochures, and I think he does the same thing for Fontana and a handful of other people in our area, that he sits at the booth and passes out the Western North Carolina brochures depending on what you're looking for. But because of this new travel and tourism plan and then the implementation schedule, this line item is probably going to fall more in some of those implementation of those. There's like 10 different markets that we think we can go after. We'll probably try and go to some of those kind of shows. And they should be less money as well.
My sense on that is that you dance with one to run you. And how we have gotten as much tourism by and large in this county as we have is our motorcycle and family travel in. So I'm all about expanding, but I certainly think we need to support the tourism that we have here now. That's just me talking.
Just with these funds, a lot of those shows are really expensive, so $2,000 won't even get you there and back. But with some of these others where it just might be a day, it won't be as expensive because it might not require an overnight. Then again, if we match our funds with some of those implementation funds, we might be able to send a team to go to some of these. But again, kind of cost sharing is the kind of way I was going.
Well, we just need to look at each date as a board very carefully to see where we go with it. What do you think of it?
Yeah, and one thing, yes, and then one thing that I think we need to change around just a little bit this year, and this is not a huge issue, but several times this past year, you know, I've been questioned as to why we're throwing in the payment for the Biz Hub and the promotion, and it's because I didn't have line payment on the Biz Hub, the copier. And it's because I didn't really have a line for it in last year's budget. And it does relate to our promotion, but if we want to be real precise, I would advise adding under administrative just a line item for that, which would be about $2,400. And then you're going to have a little bit more fund balance, I think, to bring forward, just pull fund balance forward for that much.
And that's the color copy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it would just make it a little bit more precise,
Right.
you know, because we have been questioned a time or two. That's the only thing I would change.
So add the Biz Hub and then add $2,500 to the
The
estimated
copy,
fund.
Yeah.
under admin?
Yeah,
Okay.
that way you're covered there. And I'm just adding fund balance, pulling fund balance forward. Because I know, I'm pretty sure it's going to make our receipts fall apart and we just get thousands and thousands of dollars in bills in it. You're going to have some more fund balance. That's what I'm saying.
I would that we make a line item for the copier under administrative for $2,500.
That's the only, you guys have done a great job.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
One thing that I'm going to do differently this year, and I think it's going to make it so much easier for all of us, is I'm going to add about 15 line items to your chart of accounts for your advertising. So where everything that you've lined out here under development and promotion, under where you've got your trip info, I don't know how much those are gonna be, and you got direct advertising, print web, I'm gonna call it that, okay? And then I'll use that as my guide, as you can help me tag them, okay? As what needs to go where. But I think it's gonna make everything so much more transparent for the board and for the public to know exactly where everything's coming from, because you guys have done a tremendous job in trying to break this out. And I don't like it that I'm just throwing everything in one tub. It's hard for me to figure it out.
Occupancy partners.
I think that we are. So,
Also, it creates a roadmap for
Sure.
the
The next
director.
budget,
If
yeah.
it's not me, if it's somebody else, it does, oh, this is who they spent money with, and it makes it real easy to see.
and it's gonna make it so much easier for you when you're putting your budget together this time next year, to know what you really spent and where we over, where we done. So, that's my pledge to you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything else to discuss on the budget before Becky?
So I'll have a draft ordinance together for you Tuesday to bring and present. That way you guys can have it to lay out.
And what time are we meeting Tuesday?
What time? Did y'all decide a time?
Do a regular 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to just meet here?
We
Yeah,
can,
we're fine. Here.
so that'll be the 16th. So budget ordinance and
And the budget amendments.
rest of the
So we got, yeah, if you want to review it, then, you guys can ask them to present. You gave me the authority, like, so. I have no draft.
If you don't do it tonight.
Anything? Thank you.
Thank you much, Becky. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone for public comment?
I would say no. Just make sure. No, ma'am. Nobody in the way here.
No public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We are now to discussion items. Tabitha, if you'd like to go ahead with your report. And would everybody agree that we have covered the budget discussions? All righty, so I'm going to go ahead and check those off if no one objects. Okay.
Okay, so the rules and procedures was something that we worked on and finished up via email, and I didn't hear back from anybody about any other changes. So the rules and procedures, Beth has the copy down here, and she has a blue pen, so she'll probably start sending that down that way, so we can get that off our docket. And there also will be the minutes that will be going down that way as well. And Harold, if you'll just hold those things, and I'll get them from you here in just a second. A lot of my time for the past couple of weeks has been on the visitnc.com admin area, where I've been finishing up the lodging and attraction updates for the upcoming North Carolina State Travel Guide. The deadline is tomorrow. We have all that work accomplished. I've also done some updates with the way everything is worded in there, and I've updated some pictures for people that have provided pictures, and I've been able to go online and grab a couple of big pictures for some of our attractions. Robbinsville's TDA is meeting on the 25th, and I'll be trying to share our budgets with them and some of our research. Upcoming events, the Dragon Hill Climb is this weekend, as well as the Relay for Life. We have lots of hikes with Partners of Joyce Kilmer, and there is a Cheola River release on June 25th. There is also the Cherahilla Street Bike Challenge that's going to be happening on the 20th. A lot of the lodges have themed specials and activities happening on property. The Friday night music on the square is kicked up and going. A lot of our same folks, but we do have a lot of out-of-towners showing up, and we're having a real good time there. We did get rained down a little early last Friday. About 9 o'clock it came down for it, wet the equipment. And the Friday night music will be going on all the way through the end of August. But a couple of other interesting things that are going on as far as for lodging partners and restaurant and businesses to be able to send people to have some fun. There is music on the patio at Wildwood Grill over at Fontana Village Resort on Friday and Saturday nights, and that looks like it's going all the way through August, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it June or is it July?
About the third week in August.
Okay, yeah. So that's really interesting. And then I also read on their ongoing activities that on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. they're going to be having square dances over at Fontana as well. And so I've already kind of got that out to the cloggers in our area that like to go to those kinds of things. And again, it does create a little bit of a nightlife atmosphere, which is something that we've been lacking a little bit here in Robbinsville. That as well as the late night opening down there at Oak Lodge with the Slick Rock Grill. And Stokoe Valley has a number of different classes that are going on over there. One of our residents, Kim Hange, has been trying to craft some of her items for hikes and different herbs and the way it goes to the Bible, and making some very interesting classes for people over in Stokoe Valley. The networking with some of our other TDAs, it was more in a group setting. The Smoky Mountain Post had a group meeting, and they let us know about some inexpensive marketing opportunities. There's a TripAdvisor co-op. I think last year I sent that out to the board. It was very expensive, like I think 16 weeks was like $6,000, and it was really out of our price range. But if we co-op with Smoky Mountain Post or some of our businesses co-op with them, the more folks we get in, the lesser the cost is. And if we're able to save some money in a couple of the other ads that we have going with partners, we might be able to move some of these monies and take advantage of these very inexpensive opportunities. They also have a digital magazine that tends to be getting some really high hits and conversions into web traffic for a web page. I'm sorry, are you guys, are y'all okay now? Oh, okay.
We're signing forms for you.
Oh, okay, I just didn't know if I skipped
It's not
something.
getting there and then like that.
Yeah, okay, because this just thrown me off, I'm sorry. As far as local industry relationships, I did have a really great meeting with Chelsea at the Tahoe Lodge. She has been able to take on her full responsibilities as marketing director down there because they did hire a general manager. I'm not sure if you guys know, but she does have a marketing and public relations degree from the University of Tennessee. She graduated about 2 years ago. So she's real excited about the work that she's going to be doing there. And I was able to, all my notes that I've taken as far as marketing and advertising, things that I've not been able to act on yet, I printed her out about a 20-page document and gave it to her. She was very grateful. She said she felt that Christmas, but she didn't have anything to give me back. And I said, well, you know, you're just helping me expand Grand County's digital footprint. That if you can do some of this work and I can, it's going to benefit the county. So that was a really great meeting and short and sweet, but it's really going to help Grand County. As far as staffing and volunteers, Kathy has been putting together packages for groups that have made inquiries. She's also been sending out batches of brochures to visitor centers in the state of North Carolina. Academy been to the Visitor Center. They can't believe that all these maps and magazines and maps are free. So we've been trying to get a little better at asking folks for donations, or when they give us a donation, we go ahead and put that become money back. So that's been kind of an interesting twist as we go forward. She's also been working really close with Teresa Garland for the town of Robbinsville and acquiring the door prizes for the Heritage Festival. And also we have partnered with the Joyce Kilmer group for doing the parking at the Hill Climb, which is going to relieve a little bit of my hours for this week to be sure that I don't go over. And they will be earning $500 just for that parking task, which will help keep those bathrooms open in the fall. As far as group travel and tour operators, had good conversations with Trip Info. I told them that more than likely we would be going ahead with renewing that campaign with them. And he offered that if we had more partners in the county, that it would make our rate lower. So he wanted to know if there would be anybody that was interested. This was something when Chelsea and I talked, she was very interested in this because, like I had shared with you guys, we do a lot of business to consumer, but we don't do a lot of business to business with these group operators. So she was really interested in this concept. So if she were to come on board with Trip Info, our rate will go down, as well as anybody else at Fontana were to do that. Our rate will go down again. So we might really be able to save some money if a few more people partner and take advantage of this program.
When will you find out?
Yeah.
Well, he was gonna call her, I guess that was probably yesterday, because I had my meeting with her on Tuesday. So he was gonna call her just that very next day. So I'm not really sure how it went yet. We want to give her a few more days.
What about somewhere down the line, if you talk to them?
Yeah, I've had a few calls into Robert. He has had a lot of things out of the office, and we've gone back and forth. April, you call her and ask her about the Tabitha and Robert phone tag going back and forth. Because I've really been trying to catch up with her about that, him about that visit and see the partnering plans. We've been back and forth for almost a month. We just can't seem to get in touch with each other. But I did tell April that next Tuesday was kind of the deadline that I needed to know something by then, so I don't know what direction it's going to go.
Let's stay on that, because that's our
Oh, yeah.
expenses.
Yeah, it is. And then there's also another, that Smoky Mountain host. Charmaine came through town yesterday. You guys might have seen that email. And Smoky Mountain host is now trying to talk with the North Carolina State Travel. This little square doohickey was about $12,000 for in there, and she said something about maybe being able to get that for $5,000. And I told her, I said, I don't even know how you're doing that. But she said something about Cherokee was able to get that size for $5,000. And I said, well, I need you to find out about that soonest and get back with me, because if I can have that size out for $5,000, count us in. It would be excellent. So she's supposed to get back with me hopefully by tomorrow, because she knows I was at a business meeting today. And then Christy is over here in this area with the Blue Ridge National Heritage area, working on the group tour, especially in the motor coach areas. And Lamar and I are trying to work up a time where we can go meet with Christy and Amy from that organization.
Thank you for reaching out.
Oh, yeah. We've had good conversations, so that was a God thing, and
It's a great guy to work with. too.
yeah, I just feel like that was a true blessing. We're gonna move forward with that one. As far as social media report, you do have some information there from Mary Ann. And I do have just a short little note to read to you from her. This was dated on the 9th. She said, there's good news and not so good in quotations news on Facebook for the month of May. The quote-unquote not so good news is that our ad campaign for new lights took a very sudden drop in early May. I worked on it every day for 2 weeks by changing several parameters and slowly watched it creep back up. As of June 8th, the fan count due to the campaign is doing very well, so June should be back up to its normal levels. The good news, as of June 8th, we are 32 fans away from 8,000. We're well over 8,000 now. During the month of May, our daily reach and people engaged is at its highest level so far this year. This means that there are more people liking, commenting on, and sharing our posts with others. And actually, with her working on that campaign, the weekly report that I get, that number of likes, instead of being at 140, 160, she's now closer to 180, 200. So her really working that, because however it fell apart, it benefited us by gaining another 20 to 40 more fans per week. So I expect some really exciting numbers not too far away. I'd love to hit that 10,000 mark. That would be great. So this is the report, just to remind you guys if you want to look at this, and she tries to keep it in that monthly format for you. And then ads and bills, there was a poll vote for the Flipping Book software that I need to get into the minutes. This was a software that we voted in using in conjunction with Nancy at Tail of the Dragon for making online brochures that are flippable, so that we don't have to mail these out. The renewal bill came in for that. She chose to go ahead and pay for 2 years because it saved money, and went ahead and asked us if we wanted to continue with that program so that we could keep our online brochures on the website. So the poll vote that I received back of votes of yes was Beth, Harold, Jeannie, and Ravonda. With that passing, John said he wanted some more info, and I did not get to hear from Connie and Billy. So I need to ask help from the board reading that on and getting that in the minutes. Is that fine, or do we have to actually get those motions here now to get those into the minutes?
What we normally do when we have a poll vote is go ahead and make the motion here, and once we voted on the poll, we'll vote. Again, is everybody here that voted on it?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and accept a motion to continue on with the Flipping Book software so that our online brochures are flippable. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I'm so glad.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? I didn't vote on this one. But that's still a majority, so that goes into the minutes and it's a motion.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to address what I think John was trying to say in his email, is that we don't own the software. So basically, we'll be paying an invoice, I'm assuming, from Tail of the Dragon for our share of the software for the next 2 years. So I understand, that could be a concern, that we don't own it, but I would suggest that we pay that annually, and even though she renewed for 2 years, that we just pay it annually in case there's ever any issue. Okay.
Well, I would be really frustrated with us backing up to just slide.
Yeah.
When we can do it.
No, I'm in favor, but I think John was just
Right.
concerned about who owns the software,
Right.
and if, the TNT, he would prefer that we.
And just to clarify for a new board member, because Billy was not with us last year, Billy, there was we were talking about how expensive printing was and how millennials and the younger generation don't want the brochures anymore. So I went out and did a big search because the marketing college gave me a few places to go to find these types of like issue magazine. It's online magazines, and you can also do brochure. So we researched about 7 or 8 of them, and then Nancy said, Tabitha, I'm going to be doing the software mostly. You need to keep doing your work. Let me do the research on this based off what you've already done, and I'll figure out something that's going to be good for not only Graham County Travel and Tourism, but doing the brochures for the lodging partners as well, because she does do a lot of their websites. So I went ahead and let her look into that, and this was the software package based off those other 8 that we went with. But technology changes fast, so after these 2 years, there could be something that's cheaper and better, and I would recommend at that point, we
So right now, we're losing her program pretty much, and she's managing the operation.
Right.
So what does the software cost? Cost straight out, and then we would be making it, is that correct?
That's right.
if we bought it ourselves.
Yes.
So I
It's
don't-
about a 500-ish, I think.
I just wanted to have some discussion because John had emailed
Sure.
everybody back and said that was his concern.
Mhm.
I think, isn't that about what it broke down? 500-ish. So, there's that one, but then my other track where I was going, the next one, Trip Info, if we remember from last year, this was one that if we paid it by the end of June, there was a cash discount of like 5%. So this would be one that I have not talked to him to find out what Chelsea, if she bought in. So when I find that out, that'll be something very, the last week of June, as we try and figure out if Fontana or Topeka buy in to make our rate cheaper. And then we want to go ahead and do that line item. You can probably see in the budget, well, it's not broken out in this budget. I think that one was about 32, 36, 38, thank you. I've not been right now, so I can't.
Okay.
TripAdvisor,
Tripinfo.com. This is the one that it is business to business, not business to consumer. And we're in good company with this. He told me a story that Boone and Myrtle Beach, can't believe Myrtle Beach only has 40 vendors. All 19 vendors are business to consumer. They only have one business to business, and it is tripinfo.com. And they have a ton of ads with it.
Trip info is 3324.
3324. So it would be 3324 or lower when I get that number to you guys to get permission for Becky to go ahead and pay that so we can take advantage of that discount for cash. And the Miatas come up fairly quickly too. They are here in the month of July, but it is towards the end of July. So that would be another one that they'll want their money as soon as this budget gets approved. If there's any way that we can go ahead and accept their invoice and go ahead and make payment for the Miatas as well. So do you guys want to make motions about TripInfo and Miatas since they are already budgeted, or can we not do that until the budget is accepted?
Well, we're still in this fiscal year, so the bills should be paid. Or you're saying for July?
We did it last year for a couple of bills to take
Are
advantage.
you talking about payment for July?
They're for July,
Okay.
but they're cut in June.
I'm a little bit reluctant to approve a bill I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So as soon as we know what it is, if we can move forward immediately, that's my stance.
Okay. So get the invoice and then send it forward.
So what was the commitment for the Miatas this year?
$2,500 with Fontana and TDA doing the balance of $1,000 for the $3,500.
And was he gonna use that for a meal in the county?
To my knowledge, all that's worked out over there. It's for some plaques that he does and a meal and maybe some entertainment.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the meals were due like that. I think Josh Hankins was, he's the one that decides what he's gonna do with that pretty much.
Okay.
And I think he was looking maybe possibly at COVID, and I'm not sure is what I heard.
Okay.
So I'll check on that, but I don't think that's.
Gee, I am so sorry. The acoustics in here are so good. Where'd you say that?
I'm sorry.
If you look that way, it's just a me.
I was asking Tabitha if she had the money that's going to Miatas, if they had decided yet what they were going to do with that. Because the leader of that, Josh Hankins, he typically wants that to go to a meal, which basically is the one that they do on a Saturday where they drive off the roads and they just want to go back lunch. So I'm not sure if he decided where he wants to do
Megan,
that.
come here real quick, sweetie.
Real quick, that money that's going over there can be shared with some of us over here that don't mind paying anything. Because they told us about them bag lunches they get over there. Said they, for what they get for $10 about a sandwich, pack of crackers, and something else, they were getting fruit or anything. Said, we'd rather come and go somewhere else, is what they told us at the conference.
Well, and
Yeah.
they may decide to go somewhere else.
But, you know, I'm talking about the restaurants and stuff, like, why can't we give out coupons to some other, these other restaurants? I don't care if it's mine, the Hub, or anybody else down there, why can't we give them something?
But I think the coupons too,
Yeah.
the people who come in, that,
Well, I
they can use them anywhere.
Anyway,
I
yeah,
think that, the ones you.
that was brought up.
Not the coupons, it's been suggested before. I think the
Yeah.
proximity of what Josh has wanted was they do that big photo shoot, and he wants them to be able to get the bag lunch right after that photo shoot and drive for the rest of the day. And the photo shoot's down in town. Whereas Topeka had done that, they had went by Topeka and got the meal. It could be that if we come up with a coupon, it could be used in 20
Anyway,
different restaurants.
Yeah.
So it can be catered.
The Miatas, let's see, there's probably about countywide 600.
600.
Now, depending on Josh's registration, if they don't register for that event that day, they're not the ones that's gonna get the benefit of that bag lunch. So a lot of the Miatas come and they don't all register. So he may end up having 400, requested a bag lunch or something.
Is
So
it
what are you thinking? You're thinking that the travel tourism should provide a coupon, like these
Yeah.
guys use it anywhere?
Wherever they want to, yeah, within the county, That gives them time to see if they want to go up towards Snowbird Mountain Law, go through, or if they want to go down towards Montana. But backside of Stick Hole, where, you got to settle Stick Hole Valley down.
So what
Excuse
if,
me.
what if we put like a swag bag together, and I know I'll report that, a lot of our brochures, because we got a lot of them, put this coupon in there. They can take it wherever they want. That restaurant can redeem it by stapling the receipt to it and bringing it to us for
Yeah.
The
redemption.
county,
Is that
Give them like a $2 off.
No, that's not what Josh is gonna want. I
It
mean,
says, he is saying it's for the meal and the dash plaques. I'm sorry, we've been incredibly busy today. I haven't even had a chance to look at this yet. I asked him for an invoice, so I'd have it for this meeting, but he's just been too busy to get it to me. But it is for the meal and for the dash plaques.
So
which
did
is like
he
a
say
little-
where he's wanting the meal?
He's there, he's right here, so where?
It's not that, they're all gonna be in one location to get that bag lunch. So,
Right, but we want to get them all.
Get buck back over this way.
So
you know,
if we
so
give
the
them a
county gets-
generic coupon from the
Mhm.
travel and tourism,
And
and
our
$2
rest-
off anywhere.
yeah, I don't think that Josh is, it's not gonna be $2 off, he's wanting that much to be
Right.
done.
Oh, no,
So
I'm
it's-
saying, the
I
travel
think,
and tourism can do it.
can cover it, don't take this $5,000, take it to Fontana, keep it within the county over here, then the county reimburse.
Well, I think he's the event promoter.
He's the event promoter, and the
And
money's
he's gonna choose the things.
that works for him to promote
Right.
that event. As far as the meal, I mean,
Right.
we're giving Josh the money,
Right. The county.
yes. But he's filling up pretty much the entire county, not just Montana. It's just that we can house the majority of them.
Right, I understand that. But yeah, he's still making money off of lodging and everything else. And
Josh?
alcohol, inside Fontana area.
Well,
All we want to do is a few crumbs off his Miata, or Miatas or whatever, that's it. All we want is a crumb off of it. It's not that we're not gonna take all of it, but we're gonna do our part of it. Benefit, because I've had a lot of people come back to the restaurant and say, why can't we get meals over here instead of having to pick them up over there?
Well, and I
Yeah,
I
I'm not-
personally
you
agree
know what I'm
with,
saying? Yeah.
if that would work for him, that's great. But I think what we have to, I would say, be careful about us saying that it's got to be used here. Let Josh tell us what he needs. And if they may all decide to come to Lynn's place
Yeah,
that
well, that's
Saturday.
not
And then they always decide to stay in Montana, but just give them the option.
options, yes.
I could go along with that.
Yeah, just give it.
I mean, the Hub, you've got other restaurants in this town, the Mexican places, I would say all of them,
So I wrote back, where are you having the meal? Board is asking, Topeka, Fontana, or catered by who? He said at Fontana, catered by Fontana, since they will allow outside catering.
Well, that's because we can't.
Yeah, you got your restaurant there.
That's why we can pay.
Have our occupancy tax, right?
Plus, it's not catered on our Saturday, so,
nothing else or anything? No, well, I got it before.
But that, I don't think we need to be talking to Josh with what we said, and talking to the board, you know, that's it.
What's that
I
again?
mean, I don't think we need to be emailing him, you know, what we're discussing this on the board. With Josh over there, we're just talking about this right now, with what we need to do, you know.
Well, she's talking about trying to get the invoice that's gonna need to be
We
paid.
want to see what
Well,
he's
he-
doing.
yeah.
So, will he be, is he paying?
Is he getting the whole 5,000?
Pardon?
No, part of it is for the, minutes.
Right.
Okay, but I'm just listening to everybody. How would Josh know what we discussed here if we gave him a voucher for a box lunch for whoever's over there? And he could give that to them and they go wherever they want to eat. Instead of just saying it has to be here at Fontana. And there again, he's the event coordinator. We don't want him to ruffle his feathers in any way and abort the whole situation.
Can we organize a meeting with him when he comes? Because Judy says he comes with the Onyx County.
Yeah, but you've got to do that now, because they're sitting out.
Oh, no, I don't mean change this year.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, let's not trouble the waters now, but let's talk.
What
about
I would suggest is if we're funding the car club for this meal and the dash class, then I like the idea of having like a swag bag where you could offer, because this is it's one lunch, you know, and the idea that it's at Fontana is because they are doing this photo on them. And so instead of ruffling his feathers or wanting to change everything around, since he is the event promoter, then why don't we just offer the coupons in addition to? I mean, why can't we do that? Because they're going to eat more than one time while they're here.
Like Ravonda said, like a $2 off a meal.
Yeah, or just,
Find out what restaurants would be willing to.
participate. And, you know, it's kind of like what we did on the drive out brochure. We just put in there, you know, bring these two to the hub or to Lynn's place, and they get 10% off or whatever it was. And, I mean, that's something, we could just make a flyer even that they could give out at the photo. I mean, I think if we're making it more complicated than it needs to be. We need to support the Miatas and the Minis, and if we go trying to tell them how to run their event, and they're running the registration, I think it's gonna cause a problem.
Right, and if we would just still ask that we need to make a change to be fair with everyone, then like Jeannie said, you sit down with them well before the trip is planned in.
Well, I think it would be great for every big group that we have that fills up the county. No, it would be great for every business in the county to make that swag bag, you know, get a 10% off discount wherever you go. It does encourage, like the drop bag.
I think we should do that just to all of our,
In
to
general,
every, you
They
know.
voted 2%.
So if we put that in the budget, where are we gonna put it? How are we gonna, how are we
That'll
gonna?
be next year, it won't be this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
but-
is not.
This was
I think we
already
need to
said.
start doing it, we know the
We have contingency,
Right.
we have contingency in the budget.
Yeah.
Put some together for just.
And start it and see,
See
you know.
what happens, see how well,
Well,
because we'll be able to track that.
We will, and maybe we put it as a line item, like what you're saying. If we knew or had any comprehension of the amount to start out with.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Tabitha. We give them $2,500. That's split up between. Do they pay out the 25? We give them 2,500. Do they buy 2,500 bag lunches? Do they pass out that money? If they don't pass out 200, then where's the rest of the money?
It's not managed.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
yeah. Okay.
They're getting 3,500 from that.
Well, if they have 400 people registered for the photo and they're $10 a piece, that'd be $4,000. So they're actually putting out, you know, some
Yeah.
money too.
But like I said, I've had people come to the restaurant, or everybody goes back to lunches over there, and say, this is the day more we pay for. You know, that's it.
Well, that's
So
what they
I'm
have
saying,
to,
yeah.
they have to put up with the event.
Right.
Because they're registering directly with.
Right, I understand
with
that,
John.
yes.
Yeah, Josh is the one that makes the plans of what goes in that bag lunch with whatever business he's working with.
But they said, you know, they would like to be offered something else, so our besides just getting that one lunch. And that's what I'm saying, you know, why can't we be part of it? Say, hey, that event's more than too, so if you want to go somewhere else, go, that's it. You If they want to come over, drive this way, they want to stop and get something to eat, that's what they want to do. And if they want to go down towards the boat, after they have their shoe split, you know, if you want to go, here's your coupons to here, or here, but you know, you can't use all the coupons at one, redeem them, then we've got to track and account of what's going on, you know, so.
In our contingency, we're showing 4420. We might do a swag bag line item and develop from there. And my suggestion would be at least 1,500 of that, maybe 2,000. What do you
like to
like?
buy bags?
Yes.
Is the Miatas the next big group that's coming in?
Yes, that's in July.
How many stay
Pennies
here?
won't be here again until next year, just like they were just.
How many stay at the micro county? If it was micro county.
It says it fills the county.
Yeah, it does. But you know, micro county passed out some of those back lunches right there, when they leave out, you know, that's it. If they won't have a flag shoot up yonder, the people that's gonna go, the flags are gonna go to Fontana anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they
It's
get
not
that
necessarily the
when
lunch, yeah.
they get that when they come in and register, when they sign in with Josh with his tents
Right.
that we man, they get the dash black as a courtesy thing, Grant County.
So if we were to do the swag bag, where would we say they could come get it? We definitely want them to come over here. Of course, a lot of them are over here. Do we want them to come to the,
Mr. Center, or we need to,
maybe put up a booth and welcome them?
yes.
Yeah, that's what we
That's
need to do.
a great idea. Put up a big banner,
Mhm.
they pick their swag bags up.
Kansas City gets plenty of bottled water from somewhere, you know, that's it.
And all, let's say the entrances to Robbinsville, Montana, and Topeka. A lot of, they all come in from 28, 129, and 143. So I don't know how feasible it'd be just to have one booth in the county, but we could set up 3 if we needed to.
Sure.
And I'm just talking off the top of my head, I don't have any idea how many booths we'll need.
Now, and with us doing this, she's one person, she can be in 3 booths. So
Right.
that's gonna,
Friends,
we're gonna have to.
Friends,
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 yeah, yeah.
Some of us will have to.
Okay, yeah.
And there are people who would volunteer to do that. So we don't have to. Okay,
And you said
so
it was over the micro county.
does anybody want to make a motion to begin a swag bag, line item, and pull it out of the 4420 contingency?
How much we put?
We really need to put some numbers together.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Let's do
Well,
that
let's do
too.
some informal polling. Let's go around to some of the restaurants, see who will cooperate. See how much the bags would be. And there's gonna be some labor. Do a discount on the motels maybe?
Okay, and just leave it out of this budget for right now. We can always do it again.
Well, it's in contingent, I mean, we have
Yeah.
money in
It's there.
contingency when we get on.
We can do that Tuesday, can't we? Give us time.
Yeah, talk to everybody you see and get some feedback. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to take away, but you know, I just want a piece of it, you know what I'm saying? And everybody here does it on the business, so they want a piece of what's going on, where it just is, but they'll be just like me putting on something. No, don't go over here and don't go over there, you know, that's it. You know, we want, you know, we just like to have some of it, you know, that's it. We don't want all of it, just about parts of it. I don't want all the road lights and stick on fellas covered, you know. We want some, you know, I might want a football, you know, that's it.
All right.
And then the last thing on my report is, just to kind of remind everybody that we okayed for Chris to kind of present the travel and tourism plan for the July meeting. And then just trying to get a handle on, like, that meeting that day, is if the board's, idea that after he presents, if we were to get the presentation to you before and then he presents, is this something that you would adopt at the GY plan so we can start into implementation? Or is this something that you want to study on and then adopt in August? What do you guys foresee next month's meeting kind of going?
Is that the first time we'll see it all written, all in writing?
Well, there's been lots of
Yeah,
steps
yeah.
leading up to it, and so like, to me, it's old hat. I can almost tell you what's on every slide.
How many pages are there to the comprehensive plan?
I have not seen the final plan. That's,
We should have that early
any
next
day
week.
now.
to look it over. I don't have any problem with discussion and possibly adoption, but I want everybody to have a chance to be comfortable with the verbiage and everything that's in it.
Okay, so Beth, can you help me with that item when you get that from Chris?
Yes.
Can we be sure and get that out?
I'll send it out to all of y'all and also the Great Tourism Committee members, and it'll be made available on the Great website.
And if you'll also be sure that Roger gets it for Lake Santila, Teresa gets it for the town of
Oh,
Robinson.
yeah, they're all on the
And
tourism
Sarah,
committee.
okay, yeah, okay.
They're all,
Okay,
they've been participating in meetings.
okay. All right, so that'll be great. That is it for my director.
Okay, thank you, Tabitha. We're going to discuss board appointments today. That's next on the agenda.
So the what again?
The board appointment nominations.
Yes, Beth has her appointment coming up here June 16th, and she has expressed to me that she is willing to go forward as a board member if this board would keep her. I have not checked with Kim to see if there's been any other nominations.
I haven't either, so we
Yeah.
might all hold off on them until we pull all the nominations in. I think there are some others,
Okay.
but I don't have a list.
There were some people that said they were going to just go ahead and call Kim.
Okay.
So,
So we'll get back on that. All right, any old business? New business?
Connie, can you send that signs of procedure down?
and then real quick, the marketing committee report. I got to talk with Amy just real quick, and we ended up talking about a totally different subject matter, but I know that part of that tourism plan, part of the implementation part would be through the marketing plan. So I think he might even be able to use some of the information that we gathered from us as part of getting that together. And then as far as the building committee report, when I went through that grant training, she thought about trying to actually get a planning grant. But then when I talked to Sarah Graham at the Southwest Commission, she thought that at this point it was good for me to get down all the different thoughts and write down her 6 schools of thought for the travel and tourism building, and to somehow get that in front of the public to narrow it down, and then you can go forward for, because planning monies, instead of really fleshing out which plan, it's really going to be to start getting some drawings and things like that together. So that's kind of what I was recommending from
We
some
talked
of
about that at one of the budget workshops, that, everybody's got an idea of a location or what type of building, or is it a train car, is it a cabin, is it a this? And so really basically she's just verifying what we discussed that day, that we need to have, all of the options on paper, and then we can start talking about what are the most viable options, give that to the public, to have the public input about that as well, and of course the accommodation partners. So, because that's true, the planning grant money is going to be for your architectural plans and construction documents. But, really, we have to do the work on our end before we could apply for something like that, because we have to have a location, and we have to have, I feel like, public input, and especially from the accommodation partners.
Let me ask you something. Have we done a study on this travel and tourism building the work? Because I talked to people who said travel and tourism building in the past, just trying to get it in the past, because online. and
That's one of those schools of thought, that there's not a visitor center, there's just a kiosk with bathrooms and a large digital display that plays movies and activities.
What
and
did
what we're
Chris
doing.
Kavanaugh report?
What's that?
What did Chris Kavanaugh recommend in his?
It recommends a visit that we have. a
Yeah,
visit.
because we're a smaller destination,
Yeah.
not like an Asheville, which is a little bit more urban, that people are looking for a place to check in and off and to tell us about the mom and pops. But again, we do need to get those 6 thought processes on paper and really get them all fleshed out about the way people feel about them, and then be able to go forward. and
I've gotten a lot of feedback on the train not one negative comment about it. I heard you say the key word, it's authentic, it's a destination. And I don't have any problem with putting it out for people to talk about and getting their feedback on it. But I've had a lot of good feedback. Everybody have mentioned it to me.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, there's been a lot of really good ideas, and then one of the, you know, building it green, kind of like the heirloom honey, that's an attraction in itself too. So I think, you know, all we're trying to say is we've got to get all this stuff down on paper, and especially secure the location before we can apply for a
We have a
grant.
location.
Well, yeah, speaking of location, on this message I got from Bobby when he met with you and Dave, he mentioned the Godfrey property.
Yes.
The joint was the 501 property.
That is something we definitely need to look at. There's just a strip between the property that the county has said we could use and the road. And that can all be used for parking.
Okay, can we make a move that possibly you or me get in touch with Shelley?
Shelley, y'all want us to, if y'all want us to do that, we could do that, and we'll probably go together, I guess.
Talk to her, see what she would be willing to sell that for.
That's privately owned.
I think it's a good idea to find out how much it is, because that's what we're doing with some of the other 4 places as well, is to find out, you know, how much is, as far as
So,
that.
y'all want Ravonna and myself to go talk to Shelley?
Just to, yeah, to see what that price would be.
Okay, you want to just give us a direct?
Oh,
You want to vote? Y'all hear my
I don't know.
Ron and I go talk to Shelley about the price of the
I
money.
make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? We'll go.
Let me ask you something, what was the other 2 places?
I think you
So
said.
the 6 lots are, of course, the county-owned property with the railroad cars on it. The second thought was the 5 Points property that was put together in the opt-in program, that the renderings were already done, because the property across the bridge could actually be turned into a fairgrounds if Harold and his son are willing to sell, and then even all that NCDOT, which now that could be made into a music venue and an amphitheater, so that's the second thought.
What was the price
Third.
on that?
That was 200 for the front piece of property when I first checked on it, but I've not tried to look at it.
Is that where they have the flea markets every Saturday?
Yeah, it's the storage buildings right along the river there. Yeah. And the third train of thought was further down south, where the white barn is on the west side of Highway 129, that the property across the street from it could have the visitor center with a walkway, and that becoming festival grounds, and the barn renovated to the point that it has bathrooms and dancing. Not the white barn on the left, the Calder barn on the right.
That belongs to the Phyllis's house.
Okay. So that piece of property on the left, starting the visitor center there, and then over the 5-10 years, working on this with grant funds to make that more of a fairgrounds for holding dancing, clogging, dinner shows,
Do you know how much the
motorcycle
Do
rallies.
you know how much the Phyllis is paying for that property?
Oh, honey, I understand. I'm just telling you the different options that are laid out there. So that was the third one. And then the 4th one is this piece of property that's right across the road with a visitor center that can be solar, hydroelectric power from the creek, radiant flooring, geothermal, and it had a music gazebo, 2 picnic venues. It was part of the Reimagining Robbinsville plan, but it was going to be a pocket park. It has the street parking, and there's also steps to go into the river so that there would be fishing here in town, which would be good for folks that are walking.
Where we getting all these plans at?
There's
These
just
are
ideas that have come up from a lot of
Okay, let me ask you something else. Have you talked to Bobby
Did you
Smith
want-
about this property out here?
Yeah,
Okay, he told me that a week ago, there's like a 12-inch main line right underneath that property. So something's gonna have to be elevated to keep it, you know, from having to dig it up.
and again, these aren't fleshed out, these are just ideas. And then the last one is out by Highway 129 North. And think about that nice stretch that's right there where you can overlook the marina. There is a parking lot there, and it's the scenic overview. You couldn't see and they tried to cut it out. Part of that land, part of that land is U.S. Forest Service, and part of that land is Brookfield. And it was discussed with me that we could probably get Mr. West to try and get U.S. Forest Service to give us that land, and that Brookfield would probably give us some of that land too, because they're not technically using it, because the parking lot is already made. There's also a school of thought. A lot of people come there and they turn at Massey Branch to go to Cherry Hill Sky, and they never come to Robbinsville. So that the traffic count there is a lot higher than it is in Robbinsville for people coming from the north part of the United States. And then there is the thought, the sixth thought is no visitor center at all, with kiosk, bathroom, digital billboard display. So those are the six ideas.
I would just pitch in and caution that we match whatever we do with the budget that we have. And that will bring some prices into play. We'll kind of know maybe what direction to take with that. Okay. Anything else? Next meeting, July the 9th, is that correct? Any other business? If not, now do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?